Laynie and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, oh my goodness, welcome. If you're returning, thank you so very much. It means the world to me. Today is a very impromptu video. Honestly, I was down here. I decided to curl my hair. I was like restocking my makeup bag and I was like, you know what? You curled your hair. You should probably be more productive today. So I was like, okay, I know what you guys want to see because I get questions, I get messages, collection videos. I know you guys are so into it. I understand because I am also obsessed with fragrance collection videos. I fully understand. The obsession is real. You know that feeling when you've had one too many cups of coffee? I'm feeling a little like, that's me right now. Okay, anyways, yes, I know you guys have been wanting to see this, so I thought, what the heck, why not? I'm gonna film my Middle Eastern fragrance collection. So if you want to see what Middle Eastern fragrances I have in my collection, make sure you stick around and make sure you click that subscribe button. Join the fam, especially if you love fragrance content. I do a whole lot of fragrance content around here, some beauty content, and a little bit of lifestyle content sprinkled on top once in a while. So if that sounds good, definitely join the fam. You won't regret it. Now let's just get started. I have 12 Middle Eastern fragrances in my collection. I get the hype, y'all. I get why it's such a big deal here in the frag world, whatever, fragrance, fragrance world, whatever. This is what happens when my brain is like, you don't normally film today. I'm not on my A game. That's what's going on right now. That's why I'm wearing a t-shirt. This was totally impromptu. Usually I try to look a little more zhuzhy when I get on here and hang out with you guys. I lied, there are 2 more, and let's just pretend like my bangs don't keep sticking out all crazy, okay? This is what I've been trying to let my hair air dry because I know it's healthier. That is a big mistake when you have bangs. My bangs lately, my bangs. Okay. All right, so really, as far as I'm concerned, when people talk about Middle Eastern fragrances or Arab fragrances here on YouTube, a lot of times they're talking about the pretty well-known dupe houses, Latafa, Orientica. There's a whole bunch of them out there. I am by no means an expert, but I think that's where most people's brains head when they hear Middle Eastern fragrances. So I do have 2 to start out that don't really fall under that category. They're truly like niche, high-end Middle Eastern fragrances. I lied, I've got 2 more. Holy crap, hold on. I got a whole lot here to discuss with you guys. Grab a drink, get a snack. It's gonna be a long one. Navitus fragrances are made in UAE. And honestly, I've been very impressed with this house. They usually run pretty good Black Friday sales. So the very first Navitus I ever picked up was Absolutio. And this honestly is really, really nice. The only reason I don't pick it up a lot is for 2 reasons. One, this style of fragrance is becoming quite redundant in my collection. This is very Baccarat inspired, no doubt about it. It goes off on its own, but it's like, you know, this was inspired by Baccarat. Sweet, saffron, medicinal, that kind of sponge sugary vibe. So I just have so many that are like this. And 2, this is quite unisex. And it all depends on the weather. Like on a day like today, it's kind of gray out, a little dreary. I feel like this is not as unisex on a day like today, but there's certain weather occurrences where the driftwood in this comes out real strong. And on those days, I'm like, ooh, it's very unisex, because on the days where the driftwood is really strong, I mean, it is like very dry, woody driftwood. Like I fully get that. I believe there's also oak moss in here. So like on the days that those are pulling heavy, I'm like, ooh, it's a little bit too masculine. But on a day like today, I'm like, ooh, she's beautiful. I do really like this. Like if you love Baccarat style fragrances, I wouldn't hesitate to tell you to try this out. Maybe pick up a sample first, just because it is a little bit unique and not as sweet, playful, sexy as Baccarat. This does do its own thing. I'm very excited for these cold months. Not because I like the cold, in fact, I hate the cold, but because these are very cold weather fragrances to me. Chocolate Queen is what it sounds like. It's very chocolate centric, but you also have, I believe it's Irish cream and hazelnuts. There's like this nuttiness of very creamy sweetness in there, and I love that. Honestly, cannot wait to wear this. It smells so good. You will smell like a straight up dessert, which is right up my alley. Then the last one I picked up from Navitus is Venom of Love, which is chocolate cherries. And this is very dark cherry, not medicinal cherry. It's like scrumptious cherry. It's that good, wonderful type of cherry. Think Tom Ford Lost Cherry, but with more chocolate, less spice. She's good too. This is really honestly sexy, but it does need cooler weather to really make her shine. I personally think it could get a little cloying if it was warm. Okay, so those are my 3 Navitus, but I have several on my wish list because I really do like Navitus. If you haven't tried Navitus, I really think it's worth it. It's a nice, true, niche, quality brand that in most of their fragrances don't break the bank, but they are upping their prices and going into a realm that is a little out of my reach. Then the next one is also from the UAE. And I just got this on vacation. This is by Widian, and this is called Fragrantica Arabic or Arabia Rose Almond. This is so good, you guys. I will say I wore it recently and the lasting power wasn't great. I'm hoping as she sits a little bit longer in my collection, it will get a little stronger because usually Middle Eastern fragrances have some lasting power, which is one reason I am very drawn to them. I'm an Aries. We love strong fragrances. This has about a bazillion notes in it, so I'm not going to run you through all of them, but I'm going to tell you what I smell. I almost get like a licoricey vibe in here, which I don't mind. If you don't like licorice, you might not like this. There's also coconut in here, which gives this a creaminess. It's like creamy, fruity, almost like creamy, fruity, tutti fruity. She's elevated, she's elegant, but a little bit playful because it is fruity. This is lovely. I'm very excited to wear it more and get to know it better because it really is beautiful. Okay, and then the rest that I have here fall into what I really think of as Middle Eastern fragrances, the type I hear about a lot here on YouTube or on Instagram. So let's run through it. Okay, Rare Tiffany by Afnan. First of all, I think this packaging is absolutely beautiful. It's so cool because to me this almost looks like a shell of a bullet casing. I don't really know much about that, but it just reminds me of that, like a gear or something. And I love the gold. I love the turquoise shell that is like embedded into the cap. I think that's beautiful. I love the color of the bottle. This is one I was really on the fence about if I like or not. Think aquatic rose, but with caramel. I also get some sweetness and a little bit of candy in there, but honestly this is much more floral to me than it is like sweet or gourmand. But she's also quite aquatic, which is kind of interesting. I just don't know if I love this on me. And then I was shopping at the grocery store and this lady chased me through the store saying I smelled wonderful, had to know what this was, and I pulled it up for her on Amazon. Now she'll live with me forever. When you get a compliment like that, you just can't get rid of it. It's like it holds a special place in your heart now. Next up I have Lattafa Fakar. I believe this is called Fakar Rose. There are several out there, but this is the one with the rose gold packaging, and this is supposed to be like L'Entrée, and I'm not super familiar with that one, but people say it is. I get straight up grape bubblegum, like think floral, very, very sweet, grapey bubblegum. I just get a lot of grape, and I never understood that when people said tuberose can go grapey because I never picked it up before in any of my tuberose fragrances. But now I understand because that's what I get with this. This one, honestly, I struggle with the lasting power a little bit, but I just don't know, you know, some fragrances, it just takes certain weather. I honestly find when it is super hot here and humid, a lot of my fragrances don't project very much. But when I get to this weather where it's like 65, 70, sunny, a little overcast, then my fragrances just like radiate off of me and I smell them more. I definitely think I do become nose blind to some of my fragrances. One that I have definitely worn and probably has one of the biggest dents out of all of these is Al Haramain Amber Oud Rouge. Now, I think they couldn't sell this exact one anymore because it was too close to the actual Baccarat Rouge. I think now it's just called like Al Haramain Rouge or Ruby or something like that. There are ones that are just like this out there. It's just not going to say Rouge, is from what I've heard. And honestly, this is so good. I wore this one day and my friend could smell me across the parking lot. It's legit, you guys. This one is a powerhouse. Another thing I want to just praise these Middle Eastern brands for is when you pick up these fragrances, they are weighted. The glass is heavy, the packaging is sturdy. It's like some thought and oomph was put into the packaging. It gives you ballin' on a budget, which I love. It's one of my favorite hobbies. Oh, it's so good, you guys. I also have the white, but it is upstairs on my fragrance tray. This is definitely my preference. If you are picking between Yarrow Pink or Yarrow White, I really like the pink. Yarrow White is really nice too, but Yarrow White gives me creamy lotion vibe. It honestly just smells like you're wearing a creamy, yummy lotion that is a little bit radiating off the skin to where someone would be like, oh, you smell really nice. And you're like, oh, it's just my lotion. Because the white is just so creamy. That's what it gives me. This one is more perfumey, but this one is extremely creamy as well. A lot of people say strawberry milkshake, which I understand, but I get more tropical fruits. Think maybe a little banana, like a little bit of pineapple, maybe some strawberry as well. But it's like a fruit salad where the fruits have kind of sat together, their juices have kind of mixed together. So you're like getting little wafts of each fruit, but they've kind of combined into one smell and taste. That's what I get with this, with the heavy dose of whipped cream, because it's very creamy. I love this one. It's an easy reach. This one is creamy. You can smell it. It's soft, creamy, also a little powdery. This is good in my opinion. Like, I really enjoy this one. Another one that's a bit more pricey is my Orientica Melody Day Orientica. This is supposed to smell just like Memo Sintra, and honestly, it does. I got to smell Sintra this summer. This is exact. I would have no reason to buy that. This smells exactly like it. If you haven't smelled Sintra, Sintra is inspired by Love Don't Be Shy. So if you're looking for something that smells similar to Love Don't Be Shy, you could grab this one. But I honestly prefer the Oksha Love Don't Be Shy dupe. Like, that one is spot on to me. This one is spot on to Sintra though. My only hesitation is in the opening. This is a little tart and sharp. And Sintra is like that. So I mean, it truly smells exactly like it. But that makes me not love it as much as I love Love Don't Be Shy, which just has that yummy, sweet, marshmallowy vibe. There's not really that tart opening. I definitely love the packaging of this though. The turquoise and the gold, how cool. Again, very weighted. My only complaint is the cap feels loose. Like, it stays on there, but it just feels jiggly. So I'm hesitant to pick it up by the cap because it just feels not on there the best. Okay, next up, I will talk about something that's extremely similar. I said this to one of my amazing subscribers, is my collection is getting a little full on marshmallowy Love Don't Be Shy-esque fragrances. I just picked up On Some Gold, so I really haven't had a chance to get to know her very much. But this is a dupe of Oriana, and I will say I prefer Oriana to Sintra. I like Oriana and Love Don't Be Shy kind of like the same. They're very similar, but I do get just enough difference that I don't feel like it would be totally redundant. I'm getting redundant with all the marshmallowy, sweet, fruity pebbles fragrances in my collection. I like this one better than this, but again, not because this is poorly made or anything, just because I don't love Sintra because of that sharp opening. This one is just full on fruity pebbles, creamy, yummy, marshmallowy, and powdery. This one smells like it's gonna be strong. Honestly, she's like projecting just from the tip of the bottle. Haven't worn her besides playing with her, so I can't tell you a lot about it, but honestly, again, packaging, amazing. Okay, one I have worn several times now that wasn't cheap. This is Arte Bellissimo Exotic by Orientica, and this is one that I think takes a certain weather to really get the most out of, because on really hot days, I think the heat overpowers this, but on a day like today where it's a little cool, a little crisp, like, she's projecting out of the bottle. I have also heard for a lot of Middle Eastern companies, they're made, like, a lot of them are made very quickly, so sometimes they need to sit and macerate in your collection. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard that, and I do find it to be kind of true with a few of these. Like this one, when I first got it, I was like, I'm not getting much. Like, it just wasn't very strong, and I feel like she's getting stronger. But anyways, this one is very creamy, musky coconut. This one to me makes a great layering fragrance because it is so creamy that, again, it reminds me a little bit of Yarrow White in the fact that It's just so creamy that it almost just kind of seems like, oh, she's wearing a nice lotion. It doesn't really smell fragrant like a perfume. This is very thick, creamy, musky, sweet coconut. When I wear this, for example, I almost feel like I have layered butter on me. That's how thick this is. Now, one that I'm still on the fence about, this is Tarab Al Dahab, and I don't know who makes that. That might just be the brand. And this is a lime amber coconut. I got this because people said it smells similar to Amber Romance from Victoria's Secret. This is like a more watery version, a little less sweet version. So honestly, these two have some similarities with the coconutty muskiness, but if this is thick like butter, this is thin like a body spray. Not saying it performs like a body spray, but it's like light and airy. And this one is super thick and dense. Some that are newer to me, so I really haven't got to play with them much. Shagaf Oud Amar. I've wanted to try the Shagaf Oud for quite a while, but I have heard it's pretty powerful and not everybody loves it. This one sounded more like a little bit of a entryway into some of those Middle Eastern oudi fragrances. And this to me is interesting, honestly. And I've heard this smells a lot like Herba Pura, which I could see. I've had an Herba Pura sample in the past and I didn't like it. It was far too unisex for me. I got way too much woods. This is like the more feminine version. It's fruity, like a little bit of a watery fruit, almost like a little watermelon-y, a little pineapple-y, like think very juicy fruits, but then there's also something slightly medicinal in there, like there's saffron, and I'll link all of these down below so you can actually check out all their notes. But then also something kind of sweet, a little aromatic. I'm thinking the medicinal vibe could be the oud, but I'm not an expert on oud by any means. They're both by Lattafa. I had to, if you're buying Middle Eastern fragrances, it's almost required to have these two. This is Kamra by Lattafa, and this is Fall in a Bottle. This was greatly inspired by Angel Share, and I get that. I think the Oaksha dupe of Angel Share is closer to Angel Share because I get a lot of appley vibe from Angel Share, and I get that from the Oaksha. This one I get the like boozy sweetness spice that's very similar, but toned down on the apple. This is one that I've heard really does need to sit in your collection to really get good, and I could believe it because I'm sure there's a heavy dose of vanilla in there. Vanilla 28 by Kayali is like that. When you first get it, it's kind of like meh. And as it sits and like it turns black, then you're like, oh my gosh, I love this. So I do think this is one that kind of needs to sit for a bit. I'm obsessed with the package. It's very sexy. It smells like fall, which I do crave that this time of year. Once it starts getting a little crisp in the air, I'm like, ooh, give me the spice, give me some sweetness. And then one that I liked more than I thought, this is Rogba. I can't tell you the notes off the top of my head, but I think there's like musk and vanilla, maybe some oud. This one's interesting because the color of the juice, I was kind of scared it was going to smell a little harsh or vintage, but it's honestly quite airy. Now, I haven't worn her a lot, so I could be way off, but when I tested this, I get like a very airy, sugary, a little smoky cloud, which is so fun for this time of year. I need to wear her. I need to get to know her, so you know what? I'm just gonna... I already have one on, but what the heck? I do like this. It's almost like you're by a bonfire. If you like by the fireplace, I could see you really enjoying this because this is like by the fireplace without that very I'm by the fireplace, because the first time I smelled that fragrance I was like, who wants to smell like this? It is so smoky, and now I'm obsessed with it. This is like I'm by the fireplace without that in your face I've stuck my head into the fireplace. That is all of my Middle Eastern collection. I think that's enough, honestly. If you're counting Navitus, I do have 3 Navitus in my wish list. So yes, there's more, there's more. There's always more. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know, do you have any favorite Middle Eastern fragrances? If so, leave it down below because I know I would love to hear it, and I know the rest of the community would as well. Okay, guys, thanks for this wild ride of impromptu filming where my brain wasn't fully working and I kind of just threw this all together. I hope you enjoyed it. I always look forward to hanging out with you. And as always, please try to stay positive because at the end of the day, that is truly all we can try to do. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.